Elk are majestic creatures, but encountering them in the wild can be dangerous if you're unprepared. Whether you're hiking, camping, or exploring elk habitats, it's crucial to know how to avoid potentially risky situations. In this video, we'll share expert tips on how to prevent elk encounters, what to do if you come face to face with one, and how to respect their space while staying safe. First, let's understand elk behavior. Learn about elk habits, especially during mating season and calving season when they're more aggressive. Recognize warning signs like raised ears, wide eyes, or charging postures. Now, here are some tips to avoid elk encounters. Keep a safe distance, never approach elk for photos or any reason. Make noise while hiking to avoid surprising them. Avoid areas where elk are known to congregate, especially during sensitive seasons. If you do have an elk encounter, stay calm and back away slowly, never run or turn your back. Use objects like trees, rocks, or backpacks as barriers if necessary. If charged, find cover behind large objects or climb out of reach. Finally, let's talk about respecting wildlife and their habitat. Leave no trace, don't disturb their environment or feed them. Keep dogs leashed to avoid triggering defensive behavior in elk. Educate others on how to coexist safely with wildlife. By following these simple yet effective strategies, you can minimize the risk of elk encounters and enjoy your time outdoors responsibly. Remember, elk are wild animals, admire them from afar and prioritize safety. Subscribe for more wildlife safety tips, outdoor adventure guides, and animal encounter advice. Let us know in the comments, have you ever encountered an elk in the wild? To avoid dangerous encounters with elk, it's essential to understand their behavior and recognize signs of aggression. Elk are generally peaceful animals, but during certain times of the year, they can become more territorial or defensive. Here's what you need to know. Elk habits throughout the year include mating season, which occurs in fall from September to October. Bulls, or male elk, are highly aggressive as they compete for mates and may charge humans or vehicles if they feel threatened or provoked. Calving season takes place in spring from May to June, during which cows, or female elk, are extremely protective of their calves and may act defensively if they perceive a threat. In general, elk are most active during dawn and dusk and often graze in open meadows or forest edges, so these areas may have higher elk activity. Recognizing warning signs is crucial. Elk will display specific behaviors when they feel threatened or agitated. Raised ears indicate heightened awareness or alertness, showing that elk are paying attention to potential threats. Wide eyes show fear or readiness to react, which is a sign to back away slowly. Stomping feet is a clear warning that the elk is preparing to defend itself. A charging posture, where an elk lowers its head, tucks its chin, or paws at the ground, may indicate that it is preparing to charge. Elk become aggressive during rut when male elk are driven by hormones and may see anything unusual as competition. Loud noises, sudden movements, or getting too close can trigger aggression. During calving season, female elk prioritize protecting their young and may attack if they feel their calf is in danger. Elk may also act defensively if they feel cornered or unable to escape, especially in areas with limited space like trails or roads. If you encounter an aggressive elk, stay calm and avoid shouting, running, or making sudden movements. Back away slowly to create distance without turning your back on the elk. Use barriers such as trees, rocks, or other objects between you and the elk if possible. If charged, seek higher ground or climb onto large rocks or logs where the elk cannot follow. To coexist safely with elk, keep your distance and stay at least 50 yards away. Use binoculars or zoom lenses for photos instead of approaching them. Avoid provoking them by never feeding elk or trying to interact with them, as they are wild animals and can react unpredictably. Keep pets leashed, as dogs can trigger defensive behavior in elk, especially during calving season. Knowing how elk behave during different seasons and recognizing warning signs can help you prevent dangerous encounters. By respecting their space and understanding their habits, you can enjoy wildlife safely while minimizing risks to yourself and the animals. To minimize the risk of elk encounters and ensure a safe outdoor experience, follow these practical tips. Elk are beautiful but can be unpredictable, especially during sensitive seasons like mating or calving. Here's how to stay safe. Always maintain a distance of at least 50 yards from elk. Never approach elk for selfies, photos, or any reason. Use binoculars or zoom lenses instead. Elk may appear calm, but they can charge suddenly if they feel threatened. Elk are less likely to be startled if they hear you coming. Sudden surprises can trigger defensive behavior. Talk, sing, clap, or use bells on your backpack to announce your presence while hiking. In dense forests, around blind corners, or in areas with limited visibility, making noise is especially important. Research trails and campsites beforehand to identify areas where elk are known to congregate, such as meadows, water sources, or forest edges. Avoid areas with high elk activity during rut season in the fall, as bulls are aggressive and territorial. During calving season in the spring, cows are protective of their young and may act defensively. Stick to well-marked trails and avoid venturing into thick brush or secluded areas where elk may hide. Keep pets leashed, as dogs can provoke elk, especially during calving season. A charging elk can seriously injure both pets and owners. Elk are less likely to approach larger groups of people, so travel in groups and make sure everyone follows safety guidelines. Be extra cautious at dawn and dusk, as elk are most active during these times, so remain vigilant and prepared to back away if needed. By following these strategies, you can significantly reduce the chances of an elk encounter and ensure a safer outdoor experience. Remember, elk are wild animals, admire them from afar and prioritize mutual respect to protect both yourself and wildlife. Encountering an elk in the wild can be intimidating, but knowing how to respond can make all the difference. Elk are powerful animals, and their behavior can change quickly, especially during sensitive seasons like rut or calving. Here's what you should do if you find yourself face-to-face with an elk: stay calm and back away slowly. Sudden movements or loud noises can escalate the situation. Staying calm shows the elk that you're not a threat. Slowly back away while keeping your eyes on the elk. Avoid turning your back or running. Elk can run up to 45 miles per hour and may chase you if they feel provoked. Use objects as barriers. Creating a physical barrier between you and the elk can provide protection and buy you time to retreat safely. Use trees, rocks, boulders, or large logs. Your backpack or any sturdy object you're carrying can also help. Stand behind the barrier and use it to shield yourself if the elk approaches. If charged, find cover or climb out of reach. Elk charges are rare but can happen, especially from aggressive bulls during rut or protective cows during calving season. Look for large objects like trees, vehicles, or rocks to hide behind. If possible, climb onto higher ground, such as boulders, logs, or a tree, where the elk cannot follow. Stay put until the elk moves away and the situation de-escalates. Additional tips for elk encounters include waving your arms and making yourself look bigger. If the elk doesn't back down, raising your arms or opening your jacket can make you appear larger and more intimidating. Speak firmly but calmly. A steady voice can sometimes deter an elk from approaching further. Avoid eye contact, as direct eye contact can be perceived as a challenge. Keep your gaze focused on the elk without staring aggressively. Elk encounters can escalate quickly, but staying calm and acting smart can help you avoid injury. By backing away slowly, using barriers, and finding cover if charged, you increase your chances of de-escalating the situation safely. Remember, elk are wild animals. Respect their space and prioritize safety above all else. When spending time in elk habitats, it's crucial to respect their environment and minimize human impact. Responsible behavior not only protects wildlife but also ensures a safe and enjoyable experience for everyone. Here's how you can make a positive difference: leave no trace. Human disturbances, like littering or leaving food behind, can harm wildlife and disrupt their natural behaviors. Pack out all trash and belongings, never leave anything behind. Avoid picking plants, disturbing nests, or altering the environment in any way. Resist the urge to feed elk or other wildlife. Feeding can make them dependent on humans, alter their diet, and lead to aggressive behavior. Keep dogs leashed. Off-leash dogs can trigger defensive behavior in elk, especially during sensitive seasons like calving or rut. Elk may see dogs as predators and react aggressively to protect themselves or their young. Always keep your dog on a leash, even in areas where it's not strictly enforced. Maintain control of your pet and avoid letting them chase or bark at elk. If an elk approaches, move your dog behind you or use your body as a shield to protect them. Educate others on coexisting safely. Many people unknowingly put themselves and wildlife at risk by getting too close, feeding animals, or letting pets roam free. Spreading awareness can help protect both humans and elk. Talk to friends, family, or fellow hikers about the importance of respecting wildlife. Share tips like keeping a safe distance, making noise while hiking, and avoiding elk hotspots during sensitive seasons. Encourage others to follow leave no trace principles and act responsibly in nature. Additional ways to respect wildlife: stay on designated trails. Venturing off-trail can damage vegetation and disturb elk habitats. Stick to marked paths to minimize your impact. Observe quietly. Loud noises, music, or sudden movements can stress wildlife. Enjoy the serenity of nature without disrupting it. Report unsafe behavior. If you see others feeding elk, approaching them too closely, or acting irresponsibly, report it to park rangers or local authorities. By respecting elk and their habitat, you contribute to their well-being and help preserve the natural balance of the ecosystem. Small actions, like leaving no trace, keeping dogs leashed, and educating others, can have a big impact on coexisting safely with wildlife. Remember, we are visitors in their home, and it's our responsibility to treat it with care.